6:30, so I'm going to bring this meeting, this town hall meeting on recreation to order. First of all, I want to thank all you guys for coming out and attending tonight. Without you in our community, the volunteers, the parents, the boosters, the coaches, and all of the boards that make up recreation, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a program. So number one, I want to thank all of you guys for attending and being here. Secondly, I'd like to just kind of give a quick rundown of what this meeting is about, because I think there has been some miscommunication, which is kind of the issues that we have in rec as a whole. If you look at the notice and the information that was sent to the boards, the purpose of this town hall meeting is to seek public input and discuss matters related to community recreation programs, facilities, and services. And if you look, that's what we're going to be discussing, is facilities and the programs. And I have a lot of them up there, and we're going to try to go through those. And what prompted this was, number one, we do have an expired contract with Recreation Hockey. We're going to have a contract with Recreation Hockey. That is not an issue for the city. I spoke with the mayor, I spoke with our city council. It's our goal to go into negotiations with Rec Hockey and continue that relationship moving forward. That is not an issue with the city in any capacity. But what we do want to do is assess some of the facility needs that we have across the city and recreation as a whole, and some of the issues that we have with some of our programs, which can fall into so many different categories. As you guys all know, my name is Harley Droba. I'm a city councilor, and I'm currently the president of the Recreation Commission for the city. I have the mayor of International Falls, Bob Anderson, and the International Falls School District Chair, Ted Saxton. The two entities, the City of International Falls and the school district, are in a joint powers agreement, which form the Recreation Commission. We have 3 city councilors that sit on that: myself, Mayor Anderson, and Joe Kraus. And as for school board representatives, we have Mr. Mike Holden and Terry Murray. We also have 4 at-large members that are part of our recreation board. One is a newly elected member, Brad Reiners. We have Mark Loak, Tony Palm, and Ashley Hall. There she is. So that's what makes up the Recreation Commission. Tonight, in an effort to improve our recreation opportunities in our area, we know that nothing is done overnight, and we'd like to do some strategic planning on how we can improve both our facilities and our programs in a shrinking community. As you guys know, some of you guys don't know this, and Mike is the first one to bring it up and let me know. The Rec Board was formed shortly after World War II. That was 74 years ago, and I don't think at any point we have ever done a true assessment of how everything's working and how everything is running. And that's what this is all about, is just to try to assess where our facilities are, assess the programs that we have, and how we can make it better moving forward. I know we're all busy. I mean, a lot of the people that I see in this room are the doers in our community, so I don't want to take up a ton of your time. It would be my goal to be done with this by 8 p.m. tonight. It's about an hour-and-a-half meeting. I want to respect all of your guys' time. We are all passionate about the activities in our youth and our community, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be here today. I also know that when we talk about youth and programs, it can get passionate. So it would be my goal tonight, as we address any issues or concerns that we have, that you refrain from using specific names of problem is, because it's a problem, right? We're not going to call out any specific people or groups. If you have an example, like one of the issues that has been talked to me in the grocery store is they have an issue getting court time for basketball. So the reality is that would be an issue with scheduling or having facility needs. If you'd like to speak or bring something to the attention of the group, I'll need you to state your name and address for the record. There is a sign-up sheet going around. If you guys could sign up on the sign-up sheet, I would greatly appreciate it. So, as you can see, what we're doing right now is to go through our facilities that are used for rec and our individual program needs. We'll address a couple of those. And then after tonight's meeting, what the goal of this body is to have a joint meeting with the school district and the rec commission and understand our financial concerns, the jurisdiction of all organizations, and try to come up with an organizational chart of responsibilities for all the groups. Because I think it's pretty obvious we have a communication issue across recreation, and that was a big subject of our recreation board meeting just this last Wednesday, is communication knows what each organization. So the first thing we're going to do is assess the facilities that are used for rec. But first, let's talk about the positives that we have in recreation in our community. I'll add to this list if we have to. The positives that we have in our recreation right now is community support. All of you guys coming in here today because you care about recreation in our area. The parents, coaches, the boards, volunteers, and boosters. There's a lot of other things we can add there, but I think that this pretty much sums up the community support that we have. The school district just passed a referendum this last year, which brought investment into Bronco Arena. I believe so far they've put in about $900,000. Is that relatively accurate? And there's additional funds that are going to be going into the upgrading of that facility. With the help of Bacchus and the Minnesota Vikings Legacy Fund, we were able to get a new park over at Green Acres. That's another opportunity for youth to be able to use and access playground equipment in our community. Last year, 2 years ago, the City of International Falls updated the 8th Street Park after having it being closed. We, at that point, put in a new outdoor rink at Cary Park, new boards, not new rink, new boards, and updated that. And we also have new dugouts at the ball fields over by at Rizzo Field. New ball fields as well. So there is a lot of good things that are happening. Another one is we upgraded the power at Smoky Bear Park for all of the city festivals, which go from 4th of July, the Labor Day picnic, the bass tournament. Just another upgrade that we had to try to make recreation in our community better, because not all recreation is sports. There are other things that we do in our community that utilize some of our facilities. Anything that they'd like to add for the positives of what we're doing in our community for recreation?
Joanne Kellner from the Mayor City Council, and I just like to let you guys know that we are upgrading our we got the boards from Bronco, and so our plan is
That's always been there.
That's good.
So
It's the only one we have.
that's true. That is the only one we have.
Come on, Bronco, help. Come on, Bronco.
And Bronco,
Especially if you don't feel like climbing up a little bit.
Does anyone else have any other opportunities of what we've upgraded in recent times?
Just the surfaces, field, or some of the courts. I think you've upgraded some of them. All school areas.
Okay. So, I mean, you can see we are trying to upgrade stuff and make our facilities as good as we possibly can. So then we get into where we have some challenges and issues that we're facing. And one of them that has came to my attention is scheduling. One of the issues that we have is scheduling ice time, court time, and that could be possibly a facilities need that we have. But scheduling has come up for me. Anyone else have anything else that we have an issue with? And again, I don't want to call out any specific group or any specific person, but is there anything that we can do better in recreation in our area? Well, I do have a list of pieces of conversation that we had at our rec commission meeting on Wednesday. Would you like me to throw some of those ones up there? Okay. So, scheduling was an issue. Communication. From the skate park of International Falls to Smoky Bear Park and Cary Park Arena. This one has came up, cleanliness and maintenance. We talk, Bill, where did Bill go? There you go. Bill, we talk about this all the time. One of the challenges that we face in all of our sports right now is needing coaches and volunteers. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Planning participation an issue?
And one of the things that has come up is facility needs. The person that spoke with me, he's not here today, and I probably shouldn't throw one person's issue out, but Amos McKenzie, the basketball coach, told me that we have issues with not having enough basketball courts in our community. So maybe we need more facilities. The only other one that I have that has came up to me is scheduling, or I'm sorry, accountability. And I think we're all guilty of it in some capacity, and that's where we need a flow chart moving forward of what everyone's responsibility is, and then be able to hold everyone accountable. The City of International Falls makes mistakes too. But I think that we have accountability that needs to be put on here now that I ran out of room.
Connectivity to, when you talk about recreational facilities, sidewalks or
access to
walk to the facilities. I think that's a
Actually, that's one of the things that we're looking at in our comprehensive plan is to put in a trail system, and that's kind of where we're at. So this is kind of the issues that we're facing in rec. And does anyone else have any challenges or issues? Yes.
Jeremy has.
Location, as in
We
how?
have nobody up here, we're not for. That's the nearest town on our side. Of course, the fort is right here.
travel and getting teams up here and us going to teams.
The other issue is adult reffing. Whether it be hockey, we rely too much on high school kids, athletes, babies. We desperately need adult help in that, because you can't rely on high school phantom kids to ref some of this stuff. We need all these great players in town and people that play hockey, but no one wants to know. I mean, everywhere we go, we also see poor, but it just bad refing. And we need adult refs to teach the younger kids to help show them. And that's a big thing. We have to start rescheduling meetings. We have to pay to have them come from the range and pay mileage. It's a big tough thing. A lot of headaches for a lot of people to deal with.
And I know that you're with rec hockey, so is that across the board with all of the sports? Would other people agree with that? Bill, is that across the board, or is it?
Yeah, it's, football, junior high. If they're not available, then it's. One of their biggest nightmares is scheduling.
This isn't necessarily across the board. Okay. Yes.
Dennis Wagner.
I just kind of lumped that in with Falls High, and why football is not on the other sheet is a miss on me.
But you don't have all.
I don't have everything up there. I just kind of did a quick run through of a vast majority of the stuff that we have and what we have.
So that's included in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that is part of recreation is included. I won't lie, you guys made me very nervous today. I've heard rumblings. So, no, you're absolutely right. That is definitely part of it.
Problems disappeared. Football may not add enough.
Hockey is the correct the way that works, and I know Little League is in the same boat. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it would be a couple of these other sports that maybe that would be a fix for. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, Mark Lloyd. Hockey is not in charge of getting that. Bill Mason does schedule that.
Okay.
Not having enough. When I was playing, we had all kinds of it has to do with USA Hockey has gotten very stringent. Checks and balances. Yes.
I went from all kinds of volunteers back in the day.
Yep.
Had no trouble finding volunteers, and for whatever reason now, people aren't stepping up to the plate.
Right.
Some are. Don't get me wrong, there's always some that are. But it's really a lot more difficult for finding coaches and referees.
Yep.
And it puts a lot of work for whoever's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are just doing different things than what they used to. My name is Mike Holden.
Thanks, Mike Holden.
You bet.
All right, so we've identified a handful of the issues that we have. So why don't we go over to our facilities that we have. So the first facility we have is Smoky Bear Park. And that's used for concerts in the park on Wednesday nights. It's used for the Labor Day picnic, 4th of July. It's utilized in the Icebox days. It's utilized for a handful of different opportunities throughout the course of the summer. It was just painted a couple of years back for the all-class reunion. Does anyone have any issues? Something that we could do better at Smoky Bear Park?
With your facilities and all, like the chains or
Smoky Bear Park, City Beach, Cary Park, 8th Street, Ball Fields, Green Acres. Had some church groups that wanted to use it and be more specific and be more formal on utilizing it. But to utilize the city service downstairs where you pay your water bill, where you would sign up to utilize those facilities. In fact, this summer, we do have a wedding at Cary Park, and we also have the high school or the school district is going to be utilizing Cary Park for their carnival as they did last year. So that's where you would sign up for a formal request to utilize the facilities.
Encouragement to use the facility. Yeah, we have go sledding or whatever, but we're not encouraging people to get out. Be brought in other activities.
And I think you bring a really good point because that was one of the things that I kind of brought up to the rec board this year is that our rec program seems to be just sports, whereas recreation, a whole host of other things. Today I Googled what recreation is, and the reality is it came back anything that you do outside of work. So you're right, we could utilize Smoky Bear Park for more than just what we do. We could have painting classes, and maybe that's something that we would want to move forward in a conversation with the school district of what recreation would look like other than just sports. So I have uses of facilities, yes.
I was on the rec board last year, and currently I'm not, but last year we did set aside money to recreate a program that was similar to, if everybody remembers all the warming houses that we used to go and stuff like that, build crafts with the kids and utilize some of the facilities. We did set aside some money for that, and the hard part is getting those people to do that. For recreation that isn't sports, we still are going to have the same issues of.
I think Ted brings up a really good point. One of the things that money was set aside, it was $2,000, was one of the issues that we've heard from constituents on city council is our 4th of July parade does not have the floats like it used to. And people are not participating like they used to. We have the youth floats that happen, but they're a couple of bicycles and that's it. So the $2,000 was set aside to maybe invigorate that program and try to encourage some kids to build floats. But again, that hasn't been put into fruition because we're running into the same issues. How do you get people motivated? Something that hasn't happened in years. I think all of us remember it, well, most of us that are from our community remember going to Carson Loopy or 8th Street Park and building floats and having, some community pride, which the school district has done fantastic to try to bring that Bronco pride. How do we get that International Falls pride back? And if we can get that International Falls pride back in our rec program, maybe we can fix some of these problems in the next 10, 15 years. Because we're talking about tonight are not going to be fixed tomorrow or next week. I mean, this is going to have to be a build and try to do a culture change in our community. So I greatly appreciate your comment, Ashley, and what Ted brought to the table. That's accurate. The city would love to start revamping some of those projects that we've done in the past to try to get people encouraged into our community, but we also need everyone to buy in and be part of that in our community. So,
Harley, we used to have, playground director.
We just sat there and said, we're trying to go back and do something that was done however many years ago. Rainier out there and help them with programs where it's a weekend for kids. You don't always have to be exactly.
absolutely.
We can find other things.
Absolutely, and that's what we have the money set aside for, is a program, but one of the things we were looking at is trying to revitalize the 4th of July. You're absolutely right, it could be anything, however we're trying to utilize. Ted, you had a point?
Yeah, to that point, I'm also on the library board for the public library. And we hear from time to time that people would really love to have those dances come back. And something's died for a reason. None of you guys are going to go to the library and start dancing again. So to Ashley's point is, some of the stuff is dated and we don't need back. Like, we don't need the dances back at the library, but some of the stuff is timeless, like the 4th of July parade.
So we're going to move on. So Smoky Bear Park, it sounds like we have a lot of good things that go on there. We're not going to harp on that. City Beach, there is communication with the rec board. The rec board provides the lifeguards for the facility. We just updated something there. Was it the swing sets or something? I thought we just updated something up there.
Updated like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So we have some improvements there. There is Rotary's working on a splash park. At some point in the near future, I would love to have a conversation on where that is so that we can start figuring out how that fits into the big piece of rec. That could be a fantastic addition. Anything else on Cary Park? Now, I know a lot of people here are for hockey, and that's fantastic. And Cary Park has some issues. As I understand it, and I've heard the story through other people involved in hockey. Hockey through pull tabs and charitable gambling years ago to build the facility. They paid. And as it was explained to me, It was about $300,000 is what it cost to build that facility. There are building at this point. Ted, could you just stand up and just kind of give a quick rundown of where the assessment on Cary Park came from? Because it started with trying to switch over the ice.
Yeah, with mixed refrigerants, but with our we had a humidity issue when we started. Number one was, I need a rough idea of what it would cost to what can we do to re-insulate. When they came back, structural steel was never paying. All the junk soil out of there. Structure's in bad shape. For those three items, which was a feasibility study, but it's one. I need an idea how much money we'd have to save. Many years ago, and that's what I struggle with is it's so much money just to take care of, you know, the idea of trying to take care of what we have right now.
Right there is one of the pieces. Last year, one of the things that came up is at Cary Park specifically, we have very old playground equipment. One of the conversations that we had as a community was, if we were to put in a dog park, there is no not saying dog park is the issue, but Cary Park, going back to 3 or 4 city councils ago, one of the conversations that they've had is maybe as our destination with more. And then as some of our other parks, 8th Street and Carson Loopy, conversation, since we're shrinking as a community, part of the conversation, right? As some of these other parks are getting older and more decrepit, and we have to put more and more money in that, maybe it makes sense to have all of our money focused into one or two places, more of a central location for.
Couldn't agree more, Hartley. I was looking at the list, and I think we're really fortunate to have. But I think if we did, that we could invest a lot of time into pride in it, to your parks and recreation and trails. We could have them all centrally located. Kids today, with a declining population, it's hard to meet someone there if there's no one there. But if everyone's going to one place, you allow the games to pick up hockey or whatever, any basketball, and then you'll see the sports programs in turn be more successful too. So
If anyone else wants to touch on that is, yes.
Robin Bjorkquist for Bacchus. As a person who has helped replace 2 structures at the playgrounds, I think that it's great to have the smaller playgrounds in the residential areas. I've heard a lot about the Green Acres Park, that the kids have really utilized that. So I think it would be great to have a bigger park. Actually, I had an idea for that too. But another conversation. But part of Cary Park was replaced not too long ago, so that main play structure is. But I know that the older pieces, there are some older pieces over there as well.
On the south side.
And they took down the bathrooms there too.
Yeah, but there are 2 newer play structures that have been put in within, the last 10 years. And one suggestion that I would like to see at the smaller parks, it would be nice to have a big map that would have stars or markings where the parks are. People are coming into town and they go to a park, they find a park, then they can find the other parks and take advantage of those other structures that we have.
Anybody else have anything on Cary Park? And I know we threw a lot at you financially, but those are going to be some of the things that we're struggling at moving forward and conversations that we're going to end up having.
I just had a question for Teddy.
Possibly refinish one tennis.
Yeah, I want to just commend the city for Cary Park. After they took over just a frame, a metal frame. And with a lot of money spent by the city, but it was for us. We put refrigeration, concession stand, water control center, compressors, the whole bit. It took a lot of money to do that, Harley, and I commend the city during that time for what they did. Without that, you'd still have just a metal building with no refrigeration, no concession stand. That is an elite place right now. It's got all the power you need. It's got an outdoor rink. It was all put in by the city of International Falls at that time.
It does have a lack of seating, though. I haven't been to a lot of hockey games, but it seems like that might be an issue there as well, a viewing area. I don't know if you could knock out a wall and add some bleachers, but...
I did add seating.
Locker rooms.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it has a lot of opportunity.
So we'll move on to 8th Street. As you guys know, that was closed down for a couple of years. The city is kicking it. Keep that open. The rec department, the rec commission does have someone that opens it up and maintains the rink. But in the first years that it was reopened, it seems that has not seen.
I saw that they tried to do a little bit with 10th Street was make it more of a destination like the Rainier did. So there's the fire pit there, but every time I went there all year, there's no wood, so you'd have to bring your own wood. Rainier always has the wood provided, and you also, I mean, you couldn't sit on the benches because they were under 3-4 feet of snow. It was poorly maintained as well as getting into the arena was pretty, not the arena, the warming house was pretty dangerous as well.
Wood for the fire when skating, poorly maintained. And I think that park specifically has, like, the actual summer playground equipment has some issues as well. Ball fields, that's a pretty large scope of the ball fields, both held by the city and by the school district for multiple use. Like I said, I know that they just had their dugouts replaced. So what, I know Little League is talking about a concession stand possibly for Sheila Field, not Sheila Field, Rizzo Field, I'm sorry. Is there anything else that we could do better at the ball fields?
Bathrooms. Bathrooms are really pretty bad. Crandalls, all porta potties. But when we run big tournaments, it'd really be nice to have bathrooms that people could. Building there would be nice. It's pretty small. They work good for a number of years, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
That place could really be dressed up with a nice concession stand with that.
So again, just asking the question, if we were in some capacity on ball fields and converting some of the stuff or the footprint that we have at Cary Park, if that's something that's feasible, would that be an issue to look at moving ball fields to where we have running water? Because we don't have... There is water there. There is water there?
Yeah, there is.
Cary Park, right? So maybe making that one location for people to go, because there's adequate parking. There's parking issues at the ball fields over there. You're all the way down the side streets. Maybe that's something that we can look at. But for right now, we'll just leave ball fields or bathrooms.
Drainage.
And that doesn't make for good baseball?
No, you can't. Houses have to stay by the fence.
Okay.
So you can't take a picture.
So we'll put bathrooms and drainage when we're looking specifically. We're not fixing all of it, but we need to know what issues we have as we move forward. 3 acres, that shouldn't have a lot of issues. It's brand spanking new, so.
I got one issue with that.
Oh, good, I'm in.
Are the kids too cheerful by your house?
No, one thing, when that was done, I did mention it to some people. I have a little basketball court there, but it's made, I can slam dunk, that's all sure. And nobody ever uses it.
Yeah, it
It's
could be
made for little kids.
Yeah.
But it's in my backyard, I can look out at it. And I've never seen anybody use it other than myself once in a while.
They could have, yeah.
A lot of kids, just the right height is all, it's cement foundation.
Okay. Carson Loopy?
You got someone in the back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where is Green Acres?
Green Acres is in South Falls. Well, you can just give the address.
If you go to McDonald's and keep going past the Covenant Church all the way to the end, it's back there.
I got you, thank you.
Okay, so then we go to Carson Loopy. Again, that is in rough shape, to say the least, that is in rough shape. When's the last time we had ice in that rink or in that destination? Carson Loopy is in really rough shape.
I think they, am I misremembering? I think they took most of that stuff out, right? Yeah.
Boards are down.
Park's nice.
Says budgeted money this year for playground.
It always is really wet, but I would say more than thing like that. So if you're coming maybe from like
I guess I don't know where the right time to say, but we're kind of wrapping up to talking about parks, and to piggyback on what Lindsay's saying, and what you're trying to say is, get a bigger plan, and I think a piece of that is looking at, as the community gets smaller, how many people is each of these, and maybe we percentage of them based on, because kids still get there, and we focus on safe biking, safe walking. Have them be a little bit more strategic. Go, and so instead of replacing Carson Loopy, those go to another park that we think serves those. Falls gets Green Acres, their park out there, and it's nice and open and it's safe. So like that, and the communication piece of how to, like what Robin's saying, I second that, about getting a map, getting information. The third piece was how do we not repeat? Like, what are we doing? What's Community Ed doing? And in terms of crafts, how many crafts can we all go to? Program that we don't have to repeat. We can best communicate without overlapping. And communities do that. They have everything gets there, and it we go there to find out where all these things are.
That's the point. I definitely put that on repeated services. Multiple things that are the same. Comment. I think that's kind of... so Bacchus, we utilize Bacchus. I'm sorry, yes.
One more thing. This all falls on the roller rink and basketball.
Resurface the basketball probably yesterday.
I saw kids shoveling Smoky Bear today.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Bacchus. Bacchus is utilized by the rec commission for basketball games and other other sports from time. But we get fit in. And I think that this one, as it's been explained to me, would be a scheduling issue. Yes?
Actually, the basketball program takes priority from November to February.
And Bacchus does so much for the other piece too. About sports, you guys do arts and so I just got caught in it. I think that recreation needs to be everything and more of a larger scope, and then I got caught in basketball and volleyball, so thank you for catching me on that. And you said basketball is a priority from?
November to February. That's when the junior high program practices and has games. And we try to bump them at a minimum only when we're having shows as part of our season.
Right.
Great question, Robin. And maybe Phil knows this too, but what does the rec department, school board, or city contribute for the maintenance due to people's activities? So basketball, you have to mop it after the basketball players use it. Are you being compensated for that through Bacchus, or is it all something that you guys are eating the cost of?
I think Julie can have the cost. We're not compensated for that at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think years ago, when I started using Bacchus through the city funding. Enough to get on that, the tail.
Slide in there on how we get to use that facility. And then we go to the school district's equipment. We have the high school, elementary, and Bronco Arena. The high school, the gym, the facilities there, are there any issues that we need to address? Because now we're outside of the spectrum of things that I know directly about. Is there anything that school board should know about that at the school district that for Falls High, for the gyms, the facilities?
Schools have 2 gyms in there.
Chris last year.
Wrestling program done?
We had them in there last year. Mustangs were in there.
Yes, you, sir.
Seth Evanstead, Bronco football. I believe there's been some discussion ball on because it's tile, and I believe that the alumni tournament has been raising.
Elementary is not a regulation gym. Hoops and stuff, but it's not like.
And you can't change the seating. And
Well, kind of like a Cary Park situation, and there really isn't, there isn't.
And one of the things that, you brought up St. Thomas is being able to be utilized. Amos McKenzie had also told me that one of the things is they have a handshake agreement with the Covenant Church to be able to use their. However, it's a carpeted floor, so it's not regulation. But yeah, as you said, they're out there, they're utilizing space, and that's where we're at. Bronco Arena, how's that? Everyone okay there? What was that? I'm sorry?
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms?
Bathrooms indefinitely.
Because I was like, seriously, weird up Ken, you need to fix that right now.
everybody gets a bucket.
I would say on the facility mat, where girls are and would go for all facility, you know, if you
Rainy River Community College, so there's two pieces of that one. We kind of have a handshake agreement. The city made an official deal last year with Rainy River Community College at no cost for their games. Practice there as well. In coordination with that, we're able to utilize their gym and space for some of the Rainy River that we need to put on there.
We need the floors, needs to be.
Everything in there. It's a
valid concern moving forward. So Shorewood falls into the same issue as other parks. It's old, and 9th Street, as was 19th Street, that was brought up as well. Does anyone have on Shorewood or 19th, or in that capacity, any facility that we have missed that is utilized? So then we'll go to programs. Now, this is where a lot of these issues come up. And again, we're going to go through these, I don't want to say relatively fast because they're all important to people. But I also want to be, I want to take care, make sure you guys aren't here past 8 o'clock. I don't know about you, but I need to. So wrestling's utilizing St. Thomas, and I know that I would love for Mike to talk a little bit about the program.
I'd like to talk about wrestling. 1993, high school program was cut by that current school board. Title IX was staring them in the face, and had 9 boys sports and they had 6 girls sports. What was told to us was the finances weren't too good at that time. So what they chose to do was cut boys wrestling, come into compliance, work their way into compliance on Title IX. So we had a full team, a varsity team at that time. We had over 100 kids, and the little kids program for a feeder at that time gone because of Title IX. And I'm all for girls sports, don't get me wrong. But that's how they did it. What they were supposed to do was add girls sports and even adult, but they chose to cut at that time. And years later, I had school board members that did that cutting that told me they made a mistake. Once you cut a program and a feeder program, now if you're going to start it up again, where do you got to start? You got to start with a feeder program. And that's exactly what we did.
Okay.
About 12 years ago, Pete Benedex and myself and a few others, we started a Mighty Mustang wrestling program. We're up to 30, 35 kids now. The challenge is getting them through there and then getting them onto the high school team. We've had, since then, maybe 2 or 3 varsity kids one year and maybe 2 another year. And so it's been hard because they can choose, they can do both. They can do wrestling, they can do hockey, they can do basketball when they're in elementary. But when you get to 7th grade, you really got to make a decision what you're going to do. Some to basketball, we lose some to boys swimming, we lose some to hockey. So it's a tough road, but we got into a co-op in the last couple of years with Nashwauk, Minnesota. They were concerned, they were forfeiting some matches and didn't have a full team, and they didn't want to lose their program. So we did a co-op, and it's worked out great. I am part of that coaching staff at Nashwauk and International Falls, and I get along good with all the coaches. And their little program that they have, we're almost fielding a full team. A lot of times we do. So it's worked out good, and we're providing opportunity for the Falls kids high school that do want to do it, and we're hoping that it gets bigger as it goes. That's my little spiel on one of the greatest sports there is wrestling.
Not that you're partial at all.
I'm not partial at all.
So my question is one of the things that you had said is you have 35 kids, and one of the issues you have is keeping kids through the program. You went in through a co-op with Nashwauk.
Yep.
Is there anything else that we need to put on challenges that you guys have through wrestling?
Only thing with that one, with that co-op, is if we go down for practice, it's an hour and a half drive. But because of the numbers, we use a school van to do that. I'm retired. I don't charge a dime, so I have fun. I love coaching. That sport is costing minimal right now. Okay. So we're hoping that it'll take off down the road.
Okay. I appreciate it. So there's nothing else we need to add to?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I
was just going to say, facility, obviously, it's one of those things we haven't stuffed in a classroom. I mean, if it ever did get to be rotating in a gymnasium or
You did it in the weightlifting room, did you?
We didn't need a big facility. We did it in health room right adjacent to the gymnasium.
And I'm glad somebody else is here for wrestling. Bimbo, thank you for coming.
You guys can come outside.
Yeah, we will. We'll do that later.
Okay, so we can move on to... Yeah.
You don't need all these facilities right there.
Here, one more thing, Harley. We took over a room like Kevin is saying, okay? It was a storage room. So we got mats in there and it's working right now.
Okay.
But yeah, if you were to field a full team, it'd be a little tight in there, okay? Nice to have another room, but that could be, who knows, you know? I mean, right now it's working.
Okay, so right now it's working. We're gonna move off of wrestling.
Okay.
So, with hockey, what are the challenges and needs that we have for hockey right now? I think we have numbers. That's ages what?
Mini to bantam.
We have problems with numbers. Pretty well addressed some of the issues that we're having at Cary Park. That you need us to know about as we move forward with.
And we have read that. Talk to the board over in questions, and it's kind of looked like possibility that things were going to go. All of a sudden, someone would show up at. I agree with you.
Volleyball, concerns that we have with volleyball. Oh, yeah, volleyball. What I've heard, scheduling that is an issue. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Time for practices and games, or
Lack of communication about
Ball should be.
how many kids do we have roughly in volleyball right now?
Elementary groups, we had about 5-ish or so. Some in the 3rd and 4th grade level, and we had a 20-some 6th grade level, and then our junior high.
Anything else on volleyball? Going to basketball. Roughly how many kids do we have in basketball and rec? Any issues with that? And like I said, I did talk about scheduling.
Yeah, they're on the. 45 to 6 and 5th and 6th.
Ashley?
that may or the day before.
Okay, so scheduling is an issue in some
Yeah, that's not on Bill, but I think that was more maybe the coaches had, an issue.
Else with basketball?
Coaching, there's struggle to get coaches.
Okay.
That's the case for other sports that we're.
Oh, no problem. I was just kidding. You really can go back.
I disagree with that, Art.
And stuff.
Then
Okay, so maybe it's facilities.
I disagree, Harley.
Maybe it's scheduling.
No, I'm going to disagree. I think, sorry, respectfully so, but.
I think you
Because all of our ice time, we have a very short window of time.
Yeah.
Our kids have to get their practices, dinners, and homework. And it goes back to a coaching problem. We leave work at 3:30 because that's the only ice time we give them. So I have to disagree that we have enough. It all feeds upon itself.
Okay.
A lot of times on Sunday nights, it's empty. And nobody wants to practice. Kind that everybody wishes. With the places,
Yes.
only so much to go around.
I didn't hear who said my name.
Actually, I'm probably going to say what Tina's about to say right now, is some of the people, and this is for Brock Arena because I don't practice at Cary Park as much, but there's no way I would bring my kids to practice every Saturday at 5 a.m. or whenever you guys are doing it. It's super ridiculously.
6 a.m.
So there's scheduling, there's sheets of ice issue, there's issues when it comes to hockey and being able to utilize the facilities. Any way you look at it, whether it's times, coaches don't have the time to do whatever they're scheduled for, scheduling, facilities, we'll have a good conversation about that. Golf, I've never heard any issues with golf. Yes.
Before we go to golf, can you please add football up there? Is a huge issue.
It'll get its own sheet. How about that? No, you're fine, thank you. And we actually had that discussion when we came in that I missed it. Golf, any issues with golf? I've never heard an issue with timing or anything with that.
All scheduled through the golf course, youth clinics out there for youth kids in the summer.
Okay. Softball? Scheduling issues, we talked about some of the field issues and we'll definitely be looking at that for ball fields with drainage in the bathrooms.
One problem with softball is if you have multiple kids in the sports, from one field to the next, trying to shut. Well, I mean, if we're talking about one complex with more baseball fields, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not for that.
I don't even know how to even write that. There you go.
Softball, no different than some of the others. Some softball is struggling right now with numbers. We actually have had a conversation with across the river, and hopefully something's going to happen there because they don't have softball in the high school. Can possibly bridge a gap and start, need your foot. And again, not saying that's.
But the feeder program starts at the young level when you have, I don't remember who was coaching. Awesome for them, but if you don't have that building up, They have done much better in the last couple of years with that girls.
Pat?
I agree with, but I think back to Kevin's point about co-oping, and there was other comments about offers and then not replicating the same program to maybe be more efficient with the funds. And get, programs are done by the falls and certain by Fort Francis, and you don't, I know you lose some of the, rivalry, and hockey is a big rivalry, it's very fun, and that's a great thing. But, I know that conversation should be had amongst the city. And
I think that's definitely talked about as we move forward. How that all moves. Okay, so we're gonna put perfect. Solve some real problems right now, everybody. That's anybody, any, yes?
The only thing I could say about swimming, it's an amazing facility.
We'll go on to track. Anything that we want to discuss on track? And baseball, I assume baseball is a lot of the same issues that we're having. I was hoping Russ Nagel would be here from Little League Board. Okay. So what can we do for Little League? How is things progressing with that? Is there anything that we need to do better? Please, Jennifer. Great. And how is everything for baseball for numbers? I know you guys haven't set.
No,
That's over here?
Yeah.
Makes sense over here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Is Fort Francis still coming over here?
Don't have anything else on those sports. I will.
I think one thing to add to the baseball.
Okay.
You have to bring your own lawn chair.
Raising the dirt and gets pushed.
So then let's go to football, because that gets its own page.
Who's the facility man?
Basically dragging the field, chalking them, getting them ready.
Then we go to football. It keeps its own, so what, football?
So,
Please.
But nothing in regards.
Coaching?
Yeah, last year we were like 2 weeks in. If that's anyone's fault.
And that was brought up at the rec board this last year. We've had that issue.
That group's been a tough group the last few years.
It's lack of coaching, volunteers, same thing that we were discussing on other issues.
Yeah, some good athletes.
Time again, they're right after 3:30 to 4:30 or whatever.
Then, at a younger age,
The volunteers. Volunteers. That's a possibility we're looking at.
Yes, sir.
I have a few things. That is set wrong with football. Thank you actually for the acknowledgements. Very much appreciate it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate whoever it was. A few things. First, back to the facilities. I just wanted to say Sports Stadium within the last year was recognized 10 football stadiums for the state of Minnesota. We're always very proud of coming to that facility. I completely agree. Implementing a football program would be excellent. They have very structured leagues down on the range that are feeding their classmen, that are feeding their Lindsay had mentioned something about a training facility, and weather in the fall, you know, for boys typically in the fall, we should have a lot more kids than 20 playing football. Weather can definitely be an issue for us, and I know that golf is inside, softball inside, baseball is inside. If I didn't say it already, track is inside right now, and they are stuck inside for a long time and have a lot of games canceled. Estimate, but I would absolutely. I know.
We're gonna work on stuff.
But, you know, that's a whole side conversation, but I would like to mention it as a facility with,
that could be used for multi-purpose.
It would be a multi-use year-round facility. They're out of hockey right now, are not doing anything for the next several weeks.
And that's a conversation. I mean, Ted, you put that in your budget. So,
Total side
Done.
conversation.
yeah.
I think there's opportunities where it's just partnerships and different business opportunities. Are other programs doing it? It's more of a business model.
You're And not to put anyone on the spot, but that's one of the things we talked about at PETA and the private and public partnership and how that can work. And maybe that is something that we can do to always people that are raising money to try to build something better in our community. And again, it could be everyone's going in a different direction to do the right thing. And that's how we have to get everybody on the same board of what our goals are for the next 20 years. Is there any sports that I've missed or anything else that you guys want to discuss? I'm trying to get you guys out of here by 8 o'clock. Anything?
Just the trails in the community, walks, again, the connectivity, probably a higher priority than those types. A lot of issues there, but you know, when you talk about recreation, I got it.
You're absolutely right, and to your point, we did just identify future trails and trying to get connectivity to all the places, and that's going in a comprehensive plan for. So this is where we're at right now. Where we plan on moving forward is taking the information from what we got today and meeting with the school board, the city council, and then ultimately the 4 at-large members of the Recreation Commission, and trying to hammer out and get an idea of what we need to do to make recreation more, to get more people out. Because I think we all know our own area. The school district definitely knows where their issues are. We've known where our issues are, but actually have the conversation of what is the long-term plan of fixing a lot of our stuff. So that's the goal moving forward, is to have a joint meeting with the council, the school district, and the rec board, understanding financial concerns. School district's taking care of the dome. Understanding jurisdiction of organizations, so everyone knows what their role is in recreation moving forward. And then I think the best thing that can come out of this conversation is come up with an organizational chart of responsibilities of who does what, because the question came up, who manages the ball fields? It's the rec department, but then there's a piece that the International Falls takes care of it. And I think that's what is going to be the best thing that can come out of this, is everybody who's a part of our rec program knows who they report to or ask questions to. I think that's going to be the key moving forward. I have nothing else unless you have questions, but I'd love the mayor and the school board president to make a couple comments.
Well, I'd just like to ask about the track club and the fishing club. Are those?
They have to be recognized by the high school league adopting them. They're recognized by a district, but the difference is they're not sanctioned as an official high school track club. As long as there's not or track league, not another one. We can have Old Fort kids in there. We could have Fort Francis kids. If your school has one or your area, you know, one for our kids to go shoot, like say for, but that doesn't work. But it's an area. It's not just, you know, a school. So the same with the bass fishing. It's set up the same way. You need a sponsoring school, I think is what they say. All the way to Bod. You know, I don't know where the next one is. We could technically have kids from those. Funding-wise, there's very little. I mean, we work as an agent. You know, we've helped the track club if they want to, you know. But we're not really funding them, you know. They're not counted as a sport. So we do work with, lettering and things like that, so the kids can get a falls letter, but they don't fall in as a quote-unquote official. Again, for the Title IX, it is different than it was years ago.
Yeah.
Now, they count complete, like boys, you've got 2 boys sports, and 8 numbers come out within a guideline. If you had 100 boys and 100 girls, you're fine. It's not number of activities anymore.
Participation, it's not how many different sports you have. So if I were able to bring some stuff back, it was because they go by total participation.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight, Harley for putting on this meeting. I know it's tough to have some of these conversations, and this is about as civil as it possibly could have gone. So thank you, everybody, and for contributing. And in this room is where all the doers are. This is the same people we see everywhere. And if we're not connecting those dots with each other, we're just duplicating and triplicating a lot of this work. So it will be important going forward that we all work together.
Yes. Before we close, regards to the lease with Perry Park, because that has already turned, is there?
I don't have a specific, fantastic question. I don't have a specific date. I know you guys are in the midst of getting a new president, and I don't know who it is. I believe Hasbargen is right now. I don't know who the president is, but that's who will contact. If it's him, it's him. We'll contact them, and we'll start negotiating from the city standpoint. Contract as a base.
You're going to spend and whatnot.
Already set our budget for next year, or for 2019. Our next year's budget won't come out until November, but so that will definitely go into play as we look at whatever the financial implications would be. I think everyone has seen the contracts, the city. It's 21 years old, it's very well dated. So with that being said, I think that it'll be a given. For Mayor Flager.
Looking at facilities and everything, maintain and keep going. To me,
And I appreciate your thoughts, and you had something to add.
Yeah. Don't go good all the time, and like I said, I'm sure everybody in here sat in some type of a program or watch your kids play basketball, hockey, or whatever. Not everybody, and not all the time, but the coach is coach, so I wish there was.
Our last comment will come from the school district.
I agree with Mayor Wagner and an open invitation out there. Like I say, I think we've had a very positive conversation with softball and Fort Francis, and part of it is getting the right people. I've had a couple conversations with girls hockey, which is struggling for numbers, and we can't make any head for some things. I've opened an invitation out to our neighbors more to the south, Little Fork, and can't get any, headway there. Football was the latest that not everyone necessarily agrees, but we can use numbers. And I don't know how to get over that. If people have connections, that's part of it. And Fort Francis is one of them. Their hockey numbers seem to be better, and we can't force a conversation. 5 years down the road, maybe it changes, or 2 years down. It's the most logical, partnership. But unless it takes both groups kind of struggling in order to. If anyone has help, as far as it's the.
That's exactly how we got wrestling. We had contacts and